How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Minus the Gym. And in this video, I want to talk about squat form. Specifically, when you're doing your squats, if you were to pause at the bottom of one of the reps and then put a line along your posterior and another line along the tibia. Okay, the tibia is the shin bone. You should see that those lines are roughly parallel. If they're not, then you could be putting your back at risk, especially if you're doing weighted squats. So this is what it would look like if you don't have this posterior tibial alignment that you should have in your squats. Basically, your torso will be leaning too far forward, and if you were to put those lines there, they would eventually intersect. Like they wouldn't be parallel at all. If you're doing that, if you're squatting so deep that you're leaning forward, then here's what you need to do to correct it. First, I recommend every single day, 7 days a week, if possible, do at least one set of these half-kneeling hip flexor stretches, okay? You got to do this on both sides, so it'll actually be 2 sets. But what you want to do is you want to kneel on one knee, and if you have to, go ahead and fold up a towel and put it under your knee to protect it. And then the other leg should be bent at 90 degrees in front of you. From this position, lean forward gently into the lunge and keep your torso upright. That should produce a nice stretch deep in the abdomen, that's where the hip flexors are, as well as along the inner thigh. Okay, and remember, you got to do this on both sides at least once a day, because tight hip flexors are one of the main things that are going to cause you to lean forward at the bottom of your squat. But also, it might be weak glutes as well. So if you want to strengthen your glutes, here's a body weight exercise that you can do. These are single leg glute bridge raises. So to do these single leg glute raises, what you want to do is just keep one foot flat on the floor and you're lifting up with your other leg straight ahead in line with your hips and torso. And when you push down with that foot on the floor, you want to really drive down into the heel. That's going to engage the glutes a lot. And by doing that daily hip flexor stretch, as well as strengthening your glutes, I'd say at least twice a week, working on those glute bridge raises, then you're going to eventually improve your squats. But you also have to work on your squats frequently. Okay, and that's an important point that I want to make in this video. You know, I think a lot of people, when they talk about squat form, they make a huge deal out of it. They say like you have to be perfect when you do your squats. And I can understand that. Most people, when they hear the word squats, they think of this. But that's not what I'm talking about. When I talk about squatting, I'm talking about what our ancient ancestors used to do. They would do body weight squatting. It was a primal movement, still is. You know, they'd squat next to a bush to pick berries or to take a dump or to lift something up off the ground or to pick up their child. Whatever it might have been, our ancestors would squat all the time, every day, many times a day, and they'd often just sit in a squat. That was like a sitting position for them. But nowadays we have chairs and couches and cars and all these things that we sit on, and I'm sitting right now on a chair. So sitting has sort of replaced squatting in the modern day. So I guess my point is, aside from the hip flexor stretches and those glute raises with the single leg, you also want to work on body weight squats frequently. All right, every day, at least one set, just do some squats. It's not going to tire you out. It's not going to affect your leg strength or endurance or anything. And what it's going to do is it's going to help improve your mobility. So gradually, your squat form will improve. All right? So don't be afraid of squat form. Don't shy away from it. Squat as often as you can. That's my recommendation. But anyways, that is the number one squat form cue that you want to focus on if you want to protect your back. Because if you are folding forward, if your torso is folding forward at the bottom of your squats, especially if you're doing it with a lot of weight on your back, you're going to put your spinal erectors and other muscles in the low and mid back at risk. All right? Originally, I made this video as a short, but then I found that 59 seconds just wasn't enough runtime for me to get the whole point across, so I redid it as a long form video. I hope that's all right. I hope I kept it nice and concise. If I did, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned if you want to learn more from me, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you then.